Snowflakes fell quietly across the city skyline, each one melting against the glass windows of a penthouse that glowed with the soft light of an untouched Christmas tree. Inside sat a woman, perfectly dressed in a navy silk gown, her posture as poised as ever, but her eyes empty, staring at the flicker of candles that burned for no one else. She was the CEO everyone admired, the name on every magazine cover, the face of power and perfection. But tonight, on Christmas Eve, the silence was deafening. Amelia Rhodes had everything, except someone to share it with. If you believe that kindness, second chances, and unexpected miracles can still change a life, then pause for a moment, like, comment, share, and subscribe, because what happened next changed Amelia's world forever. Every Christmas for the past 8 years, Amelia followed the same ritual. She would host a lavish company gala, smile for the cameras, shake hands with investors, and return home to the same silent apartment overlooking the city she built her empire in. No family. No laughter. Just success, cold and gleaming. She told herself she didn't need anything more. But when the lights went out and the city went to sleep, her heart whispered the truth. She was utterly alone. Her parents had passed long ago. The man she once loved had chosen another. And the child she had always wanted remained a dream buried under board meetings and deadlines. The only sound in her home was the ticking of an antique clock, a cruel reminder that time moved forward even when hearts stood still. That year, Christmas came colder than usual. The city streets below were buried under snow, and the world outside her window looked like a postcard she could never touch. Amelia turned off the fireplace and sank into her couch, clutching a cup of untouched cocoa. She tried to work through the holidays, but her mind kept circling back to a single haunting thought. Would anyone notice if she disappeared? It was then, just as midnight approached, that a faint knock echoed through her apartment. At first, she thought it was her imagination. Nobody ever visited her. Nobody dared to. But the knock came again, gentle, hesitant. She frowned, walked to the door, and opened it to find a man standing there, snow-dusted on his coat, a little girl beside him clutching a box wrapped in red paper. The man's eyes were kind but tired, the kind of tired that came from years of holding everything together. "I'm so sorry to bother you, ma'am," he said softly. "We live downstairs. My daughter wanted to deliver this to the kind lady who donated to our Christmas drive." Amelia blinked, confused. "I didn't," she began, but the man interrupted, smiling faintly. "Your company did. Rhodes Enterprises. You funded the shelter's entire Christmas meal this year. She wanted to thank you personally." The little girl stepped forward, her mittens holding the gift as if it were the most precious thing in the world. "Merry Christmas," she whispered. "We made this for you." Amelia took the box, unsure what to say. Inside, when she opened it, was a small snow globe. Not the kind you buy in stores, but handmade, crafted from glass and glitter. Inside it was a tiny clay figure of a woman sitting beside a Christmas tree, and next to her stood a little girl holding her hand. The simplicity of it hit her like a wave. For a moment, Amelia forgot the wall she'd built around her heart. She swallowed hard, blinking back tears she didn't want to show. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "It's beautiful." The little girl smiled shyly and looked up at her father. He nodded, about to leave, but something in Amelia's chest ached at the thought of the door closing again, to silence, to loneliness, to another empty night. "Wait," she said suddenly. "Would you like to come in? Just for a while? It's freezing out there." The man hesitated, but his daughter's hopeful eyes made the decision for him. And that was how the most unexpected Christmas began. They introduced themselves properly. His name was Ethan, and his daughter was Lily. He was a single father who worked double shifts as a paramedic. Lily's mother had passed away 2 years earlier after a long illness, and since then, they'd lived modestly in a small apartment on the lower floor of the same building. The charity event Amelia's company had sponsored had been a blessing for them. It gave them a Christmas dinner they couldn't afford otherwise. As the three of them sat by the fire, sipping cocoa and sharing stories, Amelia felt something she hadn't felt in years, a warmth that had nothing to do with the heat. Lily told her about the snow globe, how she made it with leftover school supplies, and how she prayed every night that the lonely lady upstairs wouldn't be sad this Christmas. Those words pierced straight into Amelia's soul. The lonely lady upstairs. That was who she had become, seen by a child she'd never met, understood by innocence she'd forgotten existed, hours passed unnoticed. The laughter that filled her home that night was fragile, like glass, but real. Ethan's quiet strength, Lily's bright energy, the smell of cocoa and cinnamon, it all wrapped around her heart like a long-lost melody. When they finally stood to leave, Amelia felt a strange panic rising. "Please," she said softly. "Would you come again tomorrow? For dinner? I'd love to have you." Ethan smiled, hesitant but sincere. "We'd be honored." That night, after they left, Amelia sat by the window again, but this time, the city lights didn't look so cold. She picked up the little snow globe, shook it gently, and watched the flakes swirl around the tiny figures inside. For the first time in 8 years, she smiled through her tears. The next evening, Amelia cooked for the first time in years. She laughed at herself when she burned the cookies, and she nearly cried when she saw Lily's face light up as she tasted them anyway. The dinner was simple, imperfect, and beautiful. As days turned into weeks, that one Christmas night became something more. Ethan and Lily began visiting often. They brought warmth to the corners of her life that had long gone dark. Ethan fixed her broken coffee machine one morning, and Lily insisted on decorating her office desk with paper snowflakes. Amelia began noticing the little things she had forgotten, the sound of laughter echoing through her hallways, the smell of pancakes on a Sunday morning, the simple joy of having someone to say goodnight to. And in return, she gave them what she could: stability, kindness, and slowly, something like love. By the next Christmas, her penthouse wasn't silent anymore. It was filled with life, Ethan reading by the fire, Lily dancing around the tree, and Amelia holding the snow globe that started it all. She didn't host a company gala that year. Instead, she hosted a family dinner for 3 that Christmas night. As snow fell softly outside, Ethan handed Amelia a small velvet box. Inside was a silver locket shaped like a snowflake. When she opened it, there was a tiny picture, her, Ethan, and Lily, taken the day they visited the park together. "For the woman who made us believe in miracles again," Ethan whispered. Tears welled in her eyes as she looked at them. The family she never thought she'd have, the love she never believed she deserved. The woman who had once lived for success now lived for something far greater: connection, compassion, and the quiet magic of belonging. As the clock struck midnight, Lily ran to the window, gasping. "Look, snow angels," she squealed, pointing outside. Amelia smiled, feeling a peace she hadn't known since childhood. She looked at Ethan, then at Lily, and whispered, "Thank you for knocking on my door."